Well, today I'm going to continue my Nelson Reviews Halloween special. Hey, what's up? My name is Nelson, and today I am talking about killer clowns from outer space. Aliens who look like clowns come from outer space and terrorize a small town. This movie is... I didn't appreciate it enough when I was a kid. I might have seen it one time when I was a kid, and it was like on TV or something, and I was kind of like, that's dumb. But then I seen it on Netflix, a couple years ago when it was on Netflix, and I was like, oh, I do remember this movie, and I was like, this is incredible. And I remember being like, oh, I remember that, yeah, kinda, distant past, and I was just like, but ended up, this movie, it just, every time I watch this movie, it grows on me, and yeah, it's a dumb movie. I realize it's dumb. It's no horror masterpiece from the 80s, it ain't no, like, Poltergeist or, Halloween or something like that. But this movie, it is what it is, and it knows what it is. And that's what I love about it. The movie starts out perfectly, too. I mean, you see... you got the kids, and they're all parked, as they called it back in the day, up on the hill. Can't quite remember what it was called, and they see asteroid hit, and it cuts to this guy, this like old hillbilly, and he's like, the clowns hit, and he's like, oh, we better get over there. He's talking to his dog. We're gonna be rich. But him and his dog go out there, and he sees that it's a circus tent, and he's like, oh, we never had a circus around here. I love the circus, and it's so funny how unrealistic that is, and it's just like, and that's not a gripe on the movie. It knows what it is. And this whole scene really gets you prepared for what you're about to watch. And it's just like, okay, yeah, this movie knows what it is. It knows that it is a horror movie, that it is a comedy first, horror second, big time. And it lets you know that. This movie is very, very meta, I feel like. And there is a lot of bad acting throughout this movie. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of horrible dialogue throughout this movie. Again, I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for. But honestly, Grant Kramer and Susan Snyder as Mike and Debbie, they're actually pretty great in this movie, and they have really, really great chemistry, I feel like. To be honest, for how weird this movie is, they are pretty great in this movie. And when Debbie and Mike go to see what that was, what landed, she convinces him to go out there. They end up going into the tent, and they start pressing buttons, and it's like, and it makes like the clown noises. It's so funny. And the set design for this, for inside the tent is incredible. I mean, it must have taken a lot of hard work, really. And it's just, it's so colorful, and it's just, there's so much detail in it. And honestly, that's the set design is just incredible in that circus tent and in the spaceship. And it's funny because they walk in there and they see all of these buttons and everything, and and they go in the elevator, and they go up, and they see the big thing that's controlling everything, and it's like the big beam that's controlling everything, and the girl's like, this is no circus. And it's so funny, and again, so self-aware, and it gets me every time. I laugh every time she says that. But when they show up with the when they finally leave, they get attacked and they leave. You know, the popcorn comes chasing at them and all that, and they leave and they get to the cop, and the cop's very awkward. I'll get to that, but they get to the cop and he and they're telling him everything that's going on, and he's like, yo, oh, they're putting everybody, there's killer clowns and they're putting everybody in cocoons. And he's like, cocoons? And she's like, yeah, cocoons. And it's hilarious. And that scene is another one. It is hilarious every time I hear them say cocoon. And each time they say cocoon in the movie, cocoon, cocoon. It gets me every single time. And then there's a scene where the clowns, they decide, they go out and they start they venture out into the small town and all that, and there's a scene with these bikers. It's just, and one of the clowns roll up to next to these bikers and on a tricycle, on a small tricycle. One of the bikers is like, oh, can I ride? And no, and the clown's like, no, and he's like, well, can I honk your horn? And yeah, go ahead. And he smashes the bike, and he smashes the tricycle, and the clown gets up, posts up, and he's like, what are you gonna do? Knock my block off? Probably one of the best kills in the entire movie is when he punches his head off. It's one of the best scenes of the entire movie. It's probably my favorite scene of the entire movie. I love it. The two ice cream guys in the movie are really, really funny guys. For the most part, they're pretty funny. I do have my little gripes with them, but for the most part, they are pretty funny. They're just two dudes that are just trying to pick up chicks, and they can't, and they figure that if they get an ice cream job, they'll be able to pick up chicks, and they're asking everybody, oh, you want ice cream? You don't want ice cream? And it's just, they're hilarious in this movie. And, like, I'm not too sure about this, but besides, like, Poltergeist, this might be probably the first, like, horror movie with scary clowns, with killer clowns in it. I'm not too sure, before the 1990 It that came out, and that popularized killer clowns. This might have been, like, the first. I'm not sure. The scariest scene of this movie isn't incredibly scary, but the scariest scene, I would have to say, is when there is a scene where there's a person that basically one of the clowns make that person a puppet. And just the thought of that just cringes me out and just terrifies me. It was just a creepy scene. It's probably the creepiest scene in the entire movie. This movie is not very scary, like I said in the beginning. This movie is not very scary. That's probably the scariest scene in the movie. And there's also a scene in a bathroom. The character Debbie takes the longest shower known to mankind. But there's some of the clowns' heads start popping out of the laundry basket and out of the medicine cabinet and all that. And that was kind of, for its time, was a pretty great scene with the practical effects. It was pretty good. I mean, it's not up to par with like Evil Dead or anything like that, but it's pretty good for what it was. It is pretty great practical effects in this movie. And the clowns look pretty great for this movie, I think, to be honest. They aren't terrifying looking. They scared me when I was a kid, for sure. I never watched the movie again until I was an adult, but they look pretty good, like I said, for this movie. But I do have slight complaints. Not much, really, to be honest. I do think that the ex-boyfriend in the movie, the other cop, is just awkward, and I feel like it slightly bogs down the movie a little bit. And the other cop, honestly, both the cops, I can't stand Mooney in this movie. He's great. The actor's great. Yeah, John Vernon is great as Mooney, but it's just, I feel like that character just kind of he's such a dick, and he just kind of bogs the story down. I mean, I guess you have to you have to have a jerk in this movie, but I don't know. I can never stand that character. I like the character Debbie too, but like I feel like she is cut out of a lot of this movie. I feel like she could have just been with Mike and Dave the entire time. Could have just been with them, but again, she takes the shower that lasts the entire movie, and I feel like she just kind of shows back up to be someone for them to save. But this movie, as dumb as this movie is, and as over the top as this movie is, there's just something that is very, very charming about this movie, and it just gets better and better for me the more and more I watch it. And it's definitely something, like, if I had a bad day, or just if I was just not feeling the greatest, like if I had a sick day, I would just honestly throw this movie on. It's definitely like it's became a comfort movie for me, and it's something I could throw on whenever. I mean, if I had to score this movie, I'd honestly I'd give this movie a 90%. I love this movie. I had the little gripes with it. That barely matters to me. I give this movie 4.5 stars. It's so much fun. If you like what I'm doing on this channel, like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at NelsonReviews. Follow me on Letterboxd at Nelson48. Peace out.